There we go. Yep. Okay. Good deal. All right. Then there's Ace. All right. Now we got a full crew. There we go. Perfect.
All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm calling the meeting to order. It's 5 p.m. on Monday, April 11th, 2022. So I'm going to take roll call real quick. Unfortunately, Chairman Michael Piat isn't able to make it today, so I'm stepping in place of him. So if you're here, please unmute yourself and say here. Alderman Brian Johnson.
Here.
John Kilworth.
Here.
Glenn Sherman.
Here.
Ace Champion.
Yep, he's here. He gave us a wave. He's here. Yeah.
Okay, good. Sorry. And then Christopher Garcia.
Here.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. Next, can I get a motion to approve the agenda for April 11th, 2022?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Alderman Johnson.
Second.
Sorry, I didn't get that second.
Second, Chris Garcia.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Okay, so moving forward, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from March 7th, 2022?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Alderman Johnson.
Second.
Second. Sorry, I am using my phone for Zoom, so I can't
Oh,
see.
no worries. Chris Garcia again.
Okay, thank you. I can tell by the voice, but I just don't want to guess. You know? Okay. Thank you. All right. So all in favor, please say, or all in favor?
Aye.
Please say aye. Thanks. All opposed, please say nay. Okay. Moving next to the next agenda item, which is the regular business. And then Neil, I'm going to let you take this portion over.
Yep, absolutely, Chair. Happy to do that. We just need to do our formal election, like usual item that we have to do here. I think our current Michael is our current chair. Tara is our current vice chair. And I believe I am actually the secretary. So I think that's official. That's the easy one at the end. I'm assuming you guys still want me to do that one. So if anybody wants it, I'm happy to hand it over. But otherwise, I'm happy to keep that one official. But is there anyone interested as chair? Or if you would like to nominate someone to be chair, please make your motion heard, please.
Just out of curiosity, did anybody talk to Mike before the meeting about his intentions or desire to continue?
Not specifically on, we didn't realize he wasn't going to be here till earlier this morning, Brian. So unfortunately, we did not have a chance to talk to him, but he's, my guess is he would probably be willing to consider to continue on if no one else would be interested.
I think maybe out of sort of respect for that role, I would nominate Mike. And then of course, if he chooses to decline, depending on what the vote is, if he wins and he chooses to decline, well, then I think the vice chair could slide into that role, right?
I think that would be very appropriate. Yes.
Okay.
So is that a motion, Alder Johnson, to nominate?
Yeah, as a nomination.
Okay. I think we need a second, please, for that.
I'll second that.
We don't need a second, Joanne?
Since we're doing open nominations,
okay,
we don't need a second. You just do a roll call vote.
Perfect.
On the nomination, and then the secretary records it.
Okay. Are there any other
Joanne, I have to say, I sit through these meetings all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I always hear the second, and I'm one of the few people that knows in parliamentary procedure it's not needed, but I just keep my mouth shut. So
yes.
I'm applauding you for knowing that.
I have my Robert's rules because I know that this is going to be coming up because we have a new council and we're going to have lots of nominations. So I'm armed and ready.
Are there any other nominations besides Michael for chair? Any other nominations for chairperson? Ask one more time. Any other nominations for chairperson? If not, I guess could we have a all in favor? Please say aye.
Aye.
I think that's a unanimous vote. So
I would nominate Tara Yang for vice chair.
Are there any other nominations for vice chair?
Assuming she accepts.
I accept that. But I mean, any other members, please, you're more than welcome to step up and step into this role. I've tried my best, but I don't know. I feel like, you know, there's room for others to grow in this spot too. So anyone can step up.
Any other nominations for vice chair?
And you can nominate yourself too. So
If you're interested, absolutely. All right, last call. Any other nominations for vice chair? All right, all in favor of Tara being our vice chair, please say aye.
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 All right, also a unanimous vote. Okay. Last one, I don't think there's any other volunteers for secretary, so I'd say, I'm just gonna
Nominate
say,
Neil.
there we go. Let's make it official. There we go. Any other opinions for secretary? Any other opinions for secretary? Any other nominations for secretary? That being none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 I
All right, thank you, everybody. Much appreciated. So we have our officers for the year and continue meeting. So perfect.
All right, so moving on to the next item, which is consideration with possible action on a development agreement for the development of city-owned parcels 21-22 and 21-24.
Yep, and this is staff is going to recommend that we go into closed session. So I would like to read the language here that allows us to do that. Let me make sure I've got the right language up here in front of me before I read the wrong paragraph. Here we go. Just gonna be able to read the entire, it's a little bit lengthy, so bear with me here. So the authority may convene into closed session pursuant to section 19.85, parent 1, parent E, Wisconsin statutes for purposes of deliberating or negotiating the sale of public properties, investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business as necessary for competitive or bargaining reasons. In section 19.85, parent 1, parent G, Wisconsin statutes for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is likely to become involved. The authority will thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to section 19.85, parent 2, Wisconsin stats, to take action on items discussed in closed session if appropriate, and to consider the remainder of the agenda. So with that, we would recommend a motion to go into closed session.
Okay, a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. Okay, and with that, we are going into closed session now.
Okay, yep, just give us a second here for our gatekeeper.
All set.
Motion to return to open session.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Okay.
Right.
So that motion is approved. So we're going into open session.
Thank you. Would request,
I would make a motion to approve a development agreement with Carnivore Meat Company, subject to minor technical revisions by our legal staff and economic development team.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Oh my gosh, sorry guys.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, all opposed, please say nay. Okay, so that is approved then.
thank you very much.
All right, so then we're moving on to the third item under E, which is the consideration with possible action on request to transfer current planning option on parcels. Now, I don't know if it's 4-83 or how would you say that, Neil?
Oh, let me see here. It is, I believe it's 4-83, 4-82,
Okay,
4-81, and 4-80 with On Broadway Incorporated transitioning to General Capital Acquisitions LLC.
okay, thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I had that language correct. All right.
Yep, absolutely. Just briefly, this is again, EDA approved a planning option for those parcels with On Broadway. This is in relationship to the public market project and the associated residential development that could occur behind it. So essentially we knew at some point this was going to get transitioned to a future developer. We have been in conversations with General Capital Group, as is on Broadway, for several months now. And we're just kind of acknowledging that they are kind of the preferred developer to kind of pursue the planning option at this point. This is not approval of a project. This is just simply allowing to the planning option that On Broadway currently has, just simply assigning it over to General Capital Group to continue essentially under the terms of what On Broadway had previously had. So they're required to come forth and get that assignment approved by this body. So staff is recommending approvals to allow General Capital to proceed on a planning option. I'm certainly available to answer any questions if anyone has any on that.
So currently, Neil, or Alderman Johnson, so currently, I just saw that, was it On Broadway purchased that parcel? Okay, so then moving forward, it would still be an ownership of On Broadway, but then the planning would just go to General Capital.
The building, the primary Old Fort Square building is what On Broadway has purchased. So the main building right on Broadway. The parcels that are referenced here right here are the ones immediately behind that in the parking lot area, actually. So,
I see. Okay, thank you. Thanks for the clear.
no problem. Good question.
Tara, just for clarity's sake, I will obviously need to abstain on this vote. But just as an explanation of why On Broadway sought the planning option, and then the subsequent request to assign it is because in that assignment, it gives us the ability to have the final approval over the design that General Capital would provide. So that way we can ensure that we're meeting the overall needs of the public market in the district as a whole. So that's why we went through this process the way that we did.
Any questions for staff or for Alder Johnson? If not, again, staff would recommend approval of the transferring the planning option to General Capital Acquisitions.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
All right, so all in favor, please say aye.
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 All not in favor, please say nay. And I think just for records, Alderman Johnson's vote is abstained. So that stands approved.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so moving on to agenda item F, informational, staff update and brownfield programs.
All right, that would be me. I have a very, very brief presentation tonight just to get you all up to date on what we've been working on. All right, so I'll just share my screen. Okay, so since my last update, we've spent a little bit more money of our $300,000 facade grant, or I'm sorry, brownfields grant. Getting my programs confused. So we've nearing the end of this grant program, since we spent all of our funds almost on 11 sites throughout the city. Most recently, we've been spending funds on a phase 1 environmental site assessment, which is currently underway. This is for the WPS downtown site. You might have read in the paper that WPS is selling this very large property in our downtown. There's interest in redevelopment of this site, possibly for housing. It's still very preliminary, so to assist in that effort, we are using our grant to assess portions of this site just to get a better handle on the potential barriers for redevelopment due to environmental issues. So still pretty early on, but hopefully one day in the not too distant future, we'll be seeing a 14-acre redevelopment of this site. The Monroe Street redevelopment, that's on the former Associated Bank parking lot. I've mentioned this one several times in the past. We've already spent $11,700 on a phase 1 site assessment. Currently, right now, we're working on some phase 2 site assessment work. We've done some soil and groundwater testing here just a couple weeks ago. We're working with the developer on a remedial action plan, which is the document that really drives, the cleanup of the site, to work through the DNR approvals. So that's currently underway. I believe the developer is planning on being in the ground, starting reconstruction here yet later on this summer. That's a $22 million project with 172 housing units, ground floor retail, and Gorman and Company is the developer working on that. Badger, a sheet metal on South Broadway. Of course, I've mentioned this one many, many times. Just a quick update, the developer is they just extended their planning option on this site through June. It's our understanding that this is their final planning option extension. We anticipate this going to the development agreement phase here in June. They're proposing 238 apartments, 9,400 square feet of ground floor retail space, a green roof. This is a big project, potentially $52.7 million. We've started the remedial action plan on this side as well. So just like the Monroe projects, this is the document that is going to get our approvals through DNR to really address the cleanup of this site. So it's really the kind of the final phase for environmental remediation planning. So it's nice to see this one getting close to the finish line. In the shipyard site, we are out to bid for construction right now. We will be getting those bids back here in the next few days is my understanding. But we will start construction here this summer on the first phase of the shipyard site, which is the waterfront improvements. So we'll be spending down our $500,000 EPA grants for the cleanup of this site. We've already invested roughly around $1 million from the state, WEDC, on environmental improvements to this site. So just another one that's almost wrapped up. And that's all I got for you for tonight, unless there's any questions.
Any questions for Matt? Okay, thank you, Matt.
Thanks.
Madam Chair, I guess director's report, probably up to me now.
Yep, sorry. Yes.
Oh, that's okay. No problem. Just want to make sure we didn't have any more questions for Matt. Staff we're very busy with several agreements and several projects. There's probably between, obviously Matt mentioned WPS, Shipyard, 200 North Monroe, and Impact 7. We're continuing to work on the JBS site. We had a good meeting with TWG at the Fort on their project. We believe that's going to finally be moving forward here, hopefully on the 19th. Projects at the 400 and 500 block of North Broadway, where we're having discussions on 222 Cherry Street, actually a building adding 4 to 5 stories on top of the single story building that is there of residential. So working on kind of adding, the development agreement for that project. So we're seeing still considerable amount of activity. A lot of these projects have been in the pipeline from last year. Certainly we're a little nervous at the staff level in terms of with construction prices being what they are and labor markets being what they are. Every time the phone rings, we get a little cringe a little bit when we answer and hope that they're not saying that they're delaying. So far, that hasn't happened. We've got a few, always a little wrinkles, and folks have some gaps, financial gaps that they're still wrestling with, but they are still moving forward. So we're confident right now that a majority of these projects in the pipeline are going to continue to move forward. They may be cautiously moving forward, but they are still proceeding. So we are thankful for that, and certainly doing our best to try to make sure we are being as responsive and helpful as we can to keep all those different projects moving. So obviously, I mentioned in relationship to the project being the Carnivore project tonight. Obviously, the staff's also working on the CSM and the zoning for that, and kind of preparing for maybe the expansion of that park. If that happens, and we get some good activity, this group could see a very, very busy summer, which we'd be okay with. That'd be great to see if we actually get some activity going there and see some more industrial interest. So all in all, we're very confident that it's going to be a busy year, and we're going to have plenty of, like, we're going to keep Joanne busy as our new city attorney, hopefully for the coming weeks for sure. But with that, does anybody have any specific questions or on any projects that are out there right now? I know Wendy's been very busy with her loan programs. Again, we're seeing good activity really all across the board right now. So. Yes, any questions? That's my report, Tara.
All right, thank you, Neil. The next item is just the date of the next meeting, which is May 2nd, 2022. So please be on the lookout for an email about that. Anyone have any other updates or questions for the staff? If not, I will request for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. All
Good
right.
job,
and with
staff.
that-
Thank you,
Yeah,
everybody.
thanks, everyone.